Hey everybody, Ryan Van Vels with Weller Truck Parts. Today we're going to go over how to install a GS3 into a ZF AS Tronic or a Meritor Freedomline transmission. Now this is the tub that the GS3 sits in. Normally this is part of the transmission. We've cut ours away for this demonstration. These rods are the shift rods in the transmission, so these will not, from this angle here, these will not be visible to you. All you will be able to see are the rods inside of this valley here. Each one of these rods represents a shift rod in the transmission. The GS3 actuator clicks in or engages those rods right here, these three rods. And then there's also a gate actuator right here that controls this ball on the center rod, which is actually for the gear selection. So to put this thing in, the position of the rods has to match the position of these rods on the GS3. And one way to do it is you can measure from a known point, say this spring here, this detent spring, you can measure back to the center line of this, then you can measure back from here to the center line of this and get the measurement, or you can just do it by feel. We tend to do it more by feel here because we do it a lot, but I'm going to go ahead and stick this in there. And I guess first and foremost, we want to make sure that all our detents are in there. There's going to be a spring and then a little metal detent that's down in this hole. You want to make sure that those are installed and they're fully seated down like so before you put this on. And then you're just going to lower this thing on, making sure that those rods engage each other. And now what I'm doing here, you're not going to be able to do in the truck. But what you're looking for is that little click, and then you want this thing to sit down flush on the transmission. When you tighten this thing with the bolts, I'm only going to put 4 bolts in, there's a lot more normally. You want to make sure that you don't use any sort of air tool that has a lot of torque. I'm just going to use this little Milwaukee gun here because you don't want to break the GS3 or the transmission in the event that you don't have one of those rods engaged. So again, not a lot of torque there. And then we want to go back in and we want to make sure that this sealing surface is flat and that we don't have anything bound up there. Once that's verified, then you can go and install the rest of the bolts and actually torque them down. But you don't want to torque them down until you verify the position. So when you're done with this and you start the truck, or attempt to start the truck, the GS3 will neutral the gearbox, and if it doesn't, it's somewhat safe to say that you missed a rod in here. It is possible if the rod on the GS3 is far back and this rod in the transmission is pulled out, they can not hit each other and not engage, and then this can't control anything, so you'll get the transmission not shifting gear. So if that happens, I would suspect that you have a rod out of place. Just take it all back out and double check it. But that pretty much covers the installation. Thank you.